Hi, gorgeous souls. I am Lady Stars on Fire, and this is the weekly healing messages for February 10th through the 20th. So I'm doing it for 10 days, and I'm going to be doing it right up until Mercury goes direct. I want to apologize first. Usually I get the video out earlier, but I've been a little bit under the weather. I haven't been feeling very good. I hurt my side, and I've been spending a lot of time in bed. So I apologize if my energy is kind of low. I've been dragging on getting the video done because of that. I was trying to be more positive and upbeat when I brought the video out, but I finally just decided to just come on and do it anyway. What do you expect? I'm a Leo, and with all this energy going on in Aquarius, I'm just like, you know. So anyway, I want to say, for a lot of people, we're coming into the new moon in Aquarius on the 11th, which is tomorrow. Now, new moons are all about new beginnings, new projects, new directions, ending of a cycle, starting something new. But you're going to really, between now and the 20th, it's really going to feel like you're pushing to receive. You're pushing hard to receive. And it's going to feel a lot like 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. 3 steps forward, 2 steps back. And I'm just going to be real with you. This has to do with Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde is taking place in Aquarius, where this new moon is. And a lot of this energy right now is very much, you know, pulling yourself through the trenches energy. It's coming into new levels of personal identification. Ego versus introvert versus extrovert. You're really traveling through some of your underworld, some of your inner personal characteristics of yourself, and the identification that goes with that. And you're traveling through some of those, so like they consider the way that the chart is written, and when most of the planets are all on the one side, and on a universal scale, they are. Which means we're really trying to cipher who we are. Hi, gorgeous boy. We're really, say hi, little Neptune. Hi, mommy. We're really trying to cipher through some of the bigger depth of who and what we are, our characteristics, and not that there's negativity here, but there's flaws. There's areas of ourselves that we're still in denial over. We're still learning how to not receive, but accept. And we're learning how to work through that. Now, some of our personal, deep, personal, inner, most secretive stuff is what's showing its face to us. But then it's also on the extrovert side. So it's coming in the areas of your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, your working ethics, and whatnot. And you're being questioned as to, will someone get your goat? Will you still be and follow the same way and personality characteristics that you always have? Or are you starting to truly come into yourself and understand that and make those changes against the outer world? Because what's really not happening, what most people aren't going to be seeing right now, is, like I said, Mercury retrograde. Mercury retrograde in Aquarius, which means this is everything that's going on outside of us. But understand, Mercury retrograde means we're only talking to ourselves. So you may perceive that this is going on outside of you or to you, but it's not. It's kind of like each and every one of us in our individual lives and our areas of our outer community, those people, places, and things are also having that very same conversation, but with themselves. I always say Mercury retrograde is a little bit, you can't help it. You become a little bit more self-centered because you become a little bit more narcissistic and a little bit more self-centered. Mercury retrograde means the communication isn't communicating outwardly. It's only you communicating with yourself. And you're going to be seeing a lot of your ideas of what you think others are thinking about you, or how you think you are perceived, especially in the outer community, or how you think you should be perceived, versus what you truly want, feel, desire, and knowing to distinguish the two at this time. Because, like I said, you're going to want to push to receive. You're going to want to make those new moon, new goals, new dreams, new situations come into light. But it's not going to come into light very easily. Now, hear me out. That's because at the end of the month, you have a full moon in Virgo, which is Aquarius's sister sign. So you are still working the kinks out. You are still working the details out. You are setting the direction, but the direction isn't going to move very well. It's very much patience, rest, and allow that communication from your higher self to help you understand where it is you're supposed to be going. Because you're not going to get very far very easily, but you can't give up. You have to still push forward. But like I said, it's going to have a lot of that inward communication going on, which may trick the mind into thinking the outward communication from your goals, your dreams, your ambitions, the groups, the memberships, the working aspects of your outer community. You may be thinking that they've got you on a challenging aspect, or they're looking back at you in a certain way, but that's not really happening. That's all in your head. Mercury retrograde. This is a moment of clarity, so that moving forward isn't going to make it very far forward at this time, but it is helping you to adjust the kinks so that as we go into the following month, you really are moving forward. Now, like I said, the new moon is taking place on the 11th in Aquarius. It still has Mercury, is going to be going all the way back to 11 degrees in Aquarius, which means it's still going to be passing. Well, first off, it's going to be at that Mercury, at that new moon, you're going to have Jupiter, Mercury, and Venus starting to conjunct. They're not all in completely, 1 degree of each other, but they are within the 5 degrees of each other. And Jupiter is your abundance. It's your higher knowledge. It's the manifestation. It also has Mercury, which is in retrograde, trying to make the decisions about what's best to do. Aquarius is, the rebel within. It is also the shock and awe. It's amazing. But it's also, like I like to explain it a lot, it's the fireworks. There's fireworks going to happen, but you have no idea what they're going to look like. It's innovation and creation, and bringing that higher understanding of what's good for humanity down into us. But retrograde means you're not quite getting it right yet. So this is why it's going to take time and patience. You're going to be setting the direction. Mercury, Venus, Jupiter, all going to be conjuncting at this time, with the moon here, bringing extra attention. Going to be bringing, like I said, you're really going to be feeling it from that outer community. But a lot of that's in your head, and you're working your way through that. The sensitivity. Venus is not about love. Venus is about your sensitivity, whether it's the physical body, or it's your emotions and your mind and the way you think. Venus tells you why you love it and why you want more of it. Venus also tells you why it hurts. I always use, getting cookies out of the oven. If you were cooking cookies in the oven and you went to get them out of the oven without an oven mitt, and you burned your hand, that's your Venus telling you, this shit hurts. We don't like it when you do this to us. Venus tells you why it hurts, why it betrays you, why it's harmful to you. But Venus also tells you why it's good and it secures you. So listen to those sensitivities because they're going to be off the chain with them going through today, tomorrow, and the next day of feeling that energy. Plus the moon will be there as we cross over that new moon. But understand, much direction is not actually going to start catapulting until next month after after Mercury comes out of retrograde on the 20th. Mercury comes out of retrograde. I thought I said Venus. Okay, again, you have the Chinese New Year taking place on the 12th, making it the year of the ox. So you're running out of steam. For one, the ox is also viewed as, the animal that would do all the hard labor, but it never really got its pat on the back. We're moving into a year where you're going to work hard for what you want, and you're starting to see and feel that in this energy. That's what I'm trying to get through to you. And it's not saying that this ain't going to be a good year for you if you're working on yourself and you're listening to your divine intervention, and you're following that intuition. This could be a very good and healthy year for you. But remember, we are still seeing a lot of negativity out there, and you want to make sure not to get caught in it. And that ox energy is reminding you endurance, and more endurance as it starts up. The sun will be moving into Pisces on the 18th. And like I said, Mercury is going to be going direct on the 20th. Now, all week long, you have the Mercury, Sun, Pallas, Venus, Jupiter, and Saturn, truthfully, which are getting along pretty well with the North Node in Gemini. Now, the North Node is telling you everything you need to know about what's important and up close and personal in your life. It's not the idea that you project in the long run like Aquarius is. It's up close and right here. Aquarius is the idea that can be disconnected to everything that's... Aquarius is very much a humanitarian interest and wanting to do and come up with great new, brand new ideas. But it's very easy for it to disconnect and forget that it's also one of the group. It does this very easily, somewhat like Sagittarius energy. Gemini is all up in it. Gemini is all up in it and all up in what's close and personal and up close and how are we going to make this better. The South Node is in Sag. The North Node is in Gemini. The North Node teaches you everything you need to learn in order to move forward. So this energy in Aquarius is getting along with the idea of what's up close and personal and how can we make it better if you will choose to view it from that point of view. However, the problem is it is not getting along with Neptune, that South Node. All that energy going to that North Node, all that energy going to that North Node out of Aquarius is then being projected over to Neptune. And Neptune doesn't care if it's positive or negative. It's like I was saying last week, Beauty and the Beast. And the song that I was saying they were giving me, are you being in service to the outer world or are you being in service to you? Okay, and what are you creating with your magic? Because Neptune doesn't care. It's going to create what it is given. And if you're given that understanding of all of these ideas, but not quite full, if you're going in fully cocked with a half-cocked information, then you're going to come out half-cocked and you're going to make mistakes and you're going to have to fill in those kinks. That's what I'm trying to get at. This week is not a fast movement. It feels like it, and you're going to push really hard to find what those kinks are, but you're going to keep doing that up until the new moon, full moon, on like the last day of the month in Virgo. I'm just giving you the warning. Now, all of that Aquarius energy is not getting along with Taurus. It's not been getting along with Taurus since it started coming into Aquarius. And it's not going to. Okay? So, this is where some of that negative energies are coming from. The two sides aren't getting along. Taurus has Uranus, Mars, and Lilith in it. not getting along with any of Aquarius. But what's also important that most people aren't paying attention to is it's not getting along with Libra. See, most astrologers are going to tell you there's nothing in Libra. That's wrong. When you get into the information of the Kuiper belt, and this is where I bring some of those colder energies like Lilith and Eris and Haumea and Make. Those are considered out in the Kuiper belt. So when we look at it from an astrology point of view, we're getting into our ice cold energy. We're getting into the skeletons in the closet. Okay? You have your Mars, your Uranus, your Lilith, and Taurus, which is not getting along with Aquarius. And all of that loaded house. Mars is your warrior. It is your sacral chakra and your foundation and your security. It's how you feel confident or not. It's your sexuality. Uranus is your independence, your individuality, your uniqueness, your freedom. It's what rules Aquarius, and it's not getting along with Aquarius. Okay? And these energies, along with Lilith, are not getting along with the energy going on in Libra, the universal 7th house. And that's the relationship zone. It's not getting along with Haumea and Make. Well, Make is the lotus flower. And I always say, are you on the level of the lotus flower? Are you still in the muddy, murky swamp and you can't see that there is any light? Are you starting to break through the swamp? You're in that frothy middle land. You can breathe, but you're bobbing up and down in the darkness and the light. Or are you finally breaking through and starting to bloom? Haumea is the very collective consciousness, your collective consciousness within these relationships. And are you in denial or are you in truth of them? Like I said, you're having a lot of ego-centric, personal identification, characteristic energies coming through about yourself in these relationships, knowing yourself, and then where are you going to take yourself according to what are you coming out of denial about yourself. Uranus rules Aquarius, which means nothing coming out of Aquarius is going to get the heads up or the thumbs up without Uranus's approval out of Taurus. And Taurus is not having it. Taurus is saying if it's not going to be about the humanitarian interests, then it's going to turn all into jaded, possessive, controlling energies. So we have to make sure that we're doing it for the right reasons. And the right reasons have nothing to do with ego. The right reasons have everything to do with soul. And what is good for the soul, what is good for the humanitarian race. And are you doing it for the right reasons? This is that inner tango that you have going on. Not to mention, Neptune is sextiling Pluto and Mars all week. Pluto and Mars are very similar. But Pluto is death, decay, and destruction for renewal, rebirth, regeneration. Pluto and Mars are similar in the way of Pluto ain't taking shit. Pluto is like, I will knock the freaking door in. Mars is the I will knock the door in, but Pluto will blow it off the hinges. Okay? Pluto will leave no door there. Okay? And we're talking about the death, decay, and destruction of that outer community, of what's no longer good for you, coming out of that denial for renewal, rebirth, and regeneration. This is change of spirit, change of truth, coming into the depths of yourself, if you've got the courage to go there. And then start walking that path in that direction, even though it's not going to feel like you're getting anywhere right now. But that's because this is a hard moment. Okay? And then it's also getting along great with Mars. This means the opportunities are there for you to catapult yourself in the direction, even though there'll be kinks and you'll have to fix them out. The opportunities are there to start setting the new settlement of the new ground, the new foundations. But with Neptune, that makes it a little bit more twisted. Like I said, Beauty and the Beast from last week. But it's also the magic you create. Being sextiled, meaning the opportunities are there, but are you going to be just comfortable enough to miss them? Because for one, you're for sure that you can take them anytime you want, when really you can't. Or for two, because you're still in denial and you're not even changing the cycle. You're not changing at all. This is a very deep time of inward inventory. And realizing if we're doing things for the right of us, or if we're still doing things along the line of what we think we're expected or is expected of us. Don't worry about what the outer world thinks. Like I said, they're still in retrograde too. Do what you know is best for you. This is a time of realizing we're starting endurance and patience and working hard for the direction we want. So don't start it off by jumping the gun and wanting to go after it. Perfect example. I have something new that Spirit has me working on, but they keep telling me there's only so much that I'm allowed to know at a time, because I will do just that. I'll be like all gung-ho, I need to go get this, this, and this, and this, and do this and this. And they're like, no, I only gave you this part of it. You need to understand this part before you get gung-ho and into all of this, because you're trying to go in a wrong direction. This is what I'm saying. Don't jump the gun and go too far too fast, because you may be finding out that wasn't the right direction. On the 12th and the 13th, the moon is going to move into Pisces. When the moon moves into Pisces, we're a little bit more compassionate, we're more loving, we tend to be a little bit more open, which is a good thing, but it's also a bad thing. And the way I put it out there that way because I want you to understand, on the 12th and the 13th, when the moon moves through Pisces, this is also when we believe in people that we should not believe in. This is when you bring home the stray dogs. This is when, you feel that people are better than what they are, so let me help you. But really, maybe they're not better. And maybe you're bringing harm to you. It's always good to love, but it's also good to know when you already know how people really are, and don't fall for the bullshit. 12th and the 13th. And then for the rest of the week, we're going into, as we go all the way up to the 20th, the moon will be moving more or less through Aries and then through Taurus. So it's going to go through possible easy to be manipulated energies because of that compassion. And then it's going to go into that gung-ho energy, because you're talking about a fire energy, which is, stubborn, inflexible, ballsy. I'll do as I damn well please. And then it moves into Taurus, which is still stubborn. I mean, it's bullheaded. It's Taurus, it's the bull. But wanting it for all of luxury and beauty, and why can't I just have the best? I don't like to change. It should be this way. I mean, so you're getting very stubborn in the mind is what you're coming into. Very ballsy, very cocky energy. And like you said, don't let it rule you, because most likely it'll be ruling you down the wrong side of the road. I love you. Bye, guys.